and welcome to today's Hang On Air. I'm Jerome, one of the product lead for audience for Europe, and I'm happy to be joined today by my colleague Timo. We are both on the AdWords team, and actually we are dialing in from the Berlin office in Germany. So before I jump in, maybe you want to give a quick intro?
I want to, yeah. I'm Timo. I'm one of the agency guys at Google. As this is an intro session, we will focus on the core topic of the week, which is audience buying, and also present a couple of frameworks on how to build your audience strategy.
Right. So you need to know that you can leave questions on the AdWords community page, and you can also use annotation to add questions. We're going to take your question at the end. And you also need to know that we are recording this video. So you're going to be able to rewatch it at any time, and you can actually share it with friends or colleagues that are interested into the audience topic. So let me share my screen, and we're going to jump straight into the presentation and slides. So this session is going to be the first session of a series of different Hang On Air that's going to happen throughout the week. As you can see, the week is going to be packed of webinars. The first session is going to be kind of like a high-level overview on what audience buying is. And it's going to be followed by a deep dive session into all those different products, including dynamic remarketing and remarketing lists for such ads. So make sure you attend most of them. So let me start by just looking at what's happening online. If you look at what people are doing online, you see actually that people completely change their behavior. They are reading news in the bus, or playing games in a commute, or even checking a recipe while they're cooking. So people are no longer go online, but actually they live online. And in internal research at Google shows that 91% of people use their phone in the middle of a task, which is pretty impressive. Which means, as a result, the digital life is kind of fragmented into a series of moments where consumers actually act on a specific need. So they may want to watch a video, they may want to read their emails, they may want to buy something or interact with their friends. And the successful brands and the successful marketers are the ones who can actually capture those moments and deliver on them. But it can be kind of like very challenging sometimes. Let's take the example of average consumer journey, and let's take the example of Timo, who's an internet user. He may want to go to his favorite website and then check for fancy sneakers, and then go to a store and then maybe decide to go for red sneakers. Then he decides to go back and then back to his mobile phone and then see amazing offers on his Gmail inbox, and then get remarketed then on the desktop with dynamic ads. As you can see, the consumers are moving from one device to the other device, moving from online to offline and back to online. So the customer journey can be kind of very complex for marketers actually to reach the users at the right time. Nevertheless, Google provides a couple of ways and solutions to target those people. Here I'm showing what can happen behind the scene, where you could potentially put a Google tag on your website to note what Timo is doing on the website, and then you can potentially upload offline data into your Google Analytics account, where you can do a bunch of different reports and even create remarketing lists based on the offline data. In Gmail, you can actually show Gmail sponsored promotion to people who subscribe to the newsletter. And at the end, you can show dynamic remarketing ads where you are featuring the products that people use on the website. So there's a lot of different things you can do. And all the things can be described as audience buying. So let me define what audience buying is. Audience buying is kind of a process where you can use data to segment your audience, customize your message for that audience, and then maximize profits based on the value of those customers. And there's like different steps you can take to achieve this.
Yeah, well, actually, it's to sum it up. So as in the physical world, in digital, it is really important to know who you are talking to or who you are selling to for that matter. And as opposed to the physical world, in digital, you can't see your clients walking into a shop. And that's why you will have to rely on data to find out what they are really looking for when visiting your website. Let's start with the audience segmentation.
Right. So again, there's like 3 steps. Step 1 is segmenting your audience by understanding the main attributes of your audience. Could be intent or demographics, such as gender and age, or even the status, if people are parents versus non-parents, or the site activity, understanding what people are doing on the website. The step number 2 is customizing the experience, which means try to tailor the message, the content based on the needs. Could be on the website, but could be also in the ads. And the last step is maximize your ROI. Try to measure and optimize based on the value of the customers that represent to you by analyzing millions of signals to set the right bid. So we're going to go through all those 3 steps by giving you a couple of examples. So let me first jump into the first step, which is segmenting your audience. In order to do so, I'm sharing with you like a very simple framework that you could actually use at work, which is called See, Think, Do, and Care. This framework was designed by a colleague here at Google called Avinash, who is also a Google Analytics expert. And he's using this framework to represent the different segments of users you can interact with. It's very similar to the framework, the traditional framework, which is called AIDA framework, but has a main difference here. The main difference is it's more customer-centric by putting the customer first, and is more adaptable and suitable to the online world. So let me explain you why. So first, as a marketer, you can say, okay, I want my users see my brand. In this example of an automotive advertiser, you want to raise awareness about your brand for those people who can drive cars and not for the people who cannot drive cars. And then in consideration phase, you want to make those people think about your brands when they need your products. And then in the next phase, which is the action phase or the do phase, you want to make people buy something or interact with your brand while they're in the process of buying or getting a quote in this example. And the last phase, which is as important as the other phase, which is the loyalty phase, where you care with the people, where you try to establish a long-term relationship with those people. That's where you make sure you cuddle with those people so much that they're going to come back to your website and transact again. So that's the simple framework we're going to use during this presentation, the See, Think, Do, and Care. And Google is actually providing a couple of solutions where you can reach those segments. Let me give you a couple of examples. So here on the top, you can use demographic, where you can increase awareness about a potential car launch for the users that are above 18 years old. So demographic allow you to target people based on age and gender. And then the next phase, the think phase, you can use affinity audience, where you can engage with people who are auto enthusiasts or maybe love your brands. And that's where you can demonstrate the new tech features of your car. The next step is the do phase, where you can actually use in-market audience or similar audience, where you engage with the people who are likely to buy your car. So they are the low-hanging fruit, the key prospects you want to interact with. And then the last phase, which is the caring phase, you can use remarketing or dynamic remarketing, or even remarketing on search to re-engage with those users, maybe build a car or bought a car on your website. And in every phase, you should be able to define your target audience, create a personalized message, and measure the results. So in this example, you can customize your message from along the customer journey. And along the customer journey, you can use different ways and use different formats, from a search ad to display ads, through an engagement ad, or even a YouTube format. So here on the top, I put like display banners to raise awareness about your brand. And then in the think phase, you may want to show a masthead on YouTube, where people can interact with your masthead, and then you can re-engage with those people by creating remarks. And then in the next phase, you can show banners that you can create in DoubleClick, where people can interact with the banner by configuring the card, changing the colors, so on and so forth. And then last phase, you can do remarketing with search ads, where you can show customized ads for the people who have been previously on your website and go back to search. So try to use every channel. Could be social, could be display, video, search, remarketing. And Google is providing all those different channels where you can do some sort of storytelling here. And another way I like to segment people into those buckets is to distinguish people who are the potential customers, so people who've never been to your website and never transacted. The second bucket is the existing website visitors, people who came to your website or maybe interact with your digital assets, but never transacted. And the last bucket is the existing customers. That's where you need to invest in a lot as well, because they're likely to convert again.
Yeah, at this point, I want to stress that it's really super important that ads need to be relevant to the target audience to have an effect. Well, that's no secret, but still, it is so super important that I just have to repeat it. Ads need to be relevant to have an effect. I've been in the media business for 15 years now, and I've seen a lot of creations where I thought, okay, that might be wasted money. With data and with customized messages, you will have the chance to get an even stronger impact on your messaging.
Right. And once you manage to segment your audience and customize your message, then the next step is try to monetize on it and maximize your profits. And one way to do it is to allocate your budget accordingly. So if you paint it with a broad brush here, you can say, okay, I'm going to plan a big budget to drive awareness and consideration for my potential customers. So you see here different drawings that represent where you can spend your money. For the website visitors, you may want to plan a budget to re-engage with those people who are interacting with your website or with your ads and make them bounce back to your website. For the existing customers, you may want to invest more in the do and care phase, because those people may come back to your website and transact. And if you like analogies, you can visualize it as first a hot air balloon was going up to the sky, and when you can raise awareness about your brand and reach scale. If you take the analogy of a bouncy ball, then you can get your website visitors bounce back to your website. And the last analogy is kind of like a money back, where those people visiting often your website and transacting, they may come back again and transact even more. So you can use the hot air balloon and bouncy ball and the money back to plan your budget allocation. The second thing you can do actually to maximize your profits is to use attribution modeling. So first you need to define the metrics you need to use to actually measure the performance of your campaigns. And those metrics should be aligned with your marketing objectives. So for example, if you measure your campaigns against a target CPA, try to use a different target CPA for your remarketing campaign and a different targeting CPA for acquisition campaign to get new customers to your website. Don't try to use one target CPA for everything. And then you need to find out which touch points actually drive business and lead to a conversion. So sometimes you have touch points that are upper the funnel and are kind of like assisting other touch points that are leading to conversion. So in this example, the remarketing click is the last touch point leading to a conversion, but before that, there was a different interaction with the user assisting actually the last click. So you need to be aware about all those different touch points and then being able to attribute credits accordingly. How much those touch points contribute to conversion at the end. And the thing is, for every single touch point, there's so many factors and so many signals that actually drive the conversion rate or different engagement rates. Can be affected by the type of device people are using, the browser type, at the time of the day, if people are on the remarketing list or not, even the language, or where people actually click on them. Just to give you an example, we know that 69% of travelers use their smartphone to search for travel IDs during their spare moment. And then half of those travelers go and book through another device. It could be through the desktop. So people are maybe using different devices, and they need to take into this element into account when you actually maximize your profit. And it can be very difficult to do it manually, so we usually recommend people to do automated bidding in networks. But also in DoubleClick, you have the ability to do programmatic bidding here. The good news is Google Analytics is also going to provide a data-driven attribution model for your search ads that you can integrate in your automated bidding. And that's something we're going to release in the next week. So just to recap, we're basically showing you 3 steps to do audience buying. The first step is trying to segment people based on the see, think, do, and care framework. And then for each audience segment, you may want to personalize and tailor your message. You may want to build your brand, entertain people around your brand, or educate them around your brand. And then the last step is metrics and attribution. You want to define specific metrics for every segment. So now I'm going to turn over to Timo, who's going to present you a model where you can use all those different solutions at Google to execute your audience buying strategy.
Yes, I will do this in a minute. One last thing about automation. I think you don't have to be a fortune teller to predict that the future of digital marketing involves managing large quantities of data, as seen on the previous slide, where you have device, browser, app, operation system, and all that. A rule of thumb is you should really concentrate on the strategic approach of audience buying and let computers do the operational work. Why is that? Because computers are really good with structured data. For example, a modern chess computer simulates 200 million options, and that's per second. So don't try this at home. And just if you ever have the chance to automate something, let the computer do the work and focus yourself on strategy. Talking about strategy, we do have a framework which may help you to do so. It is in form of a house, and most of you live in houses. You should be familiar with the concept. There's a foundation, and on top of this are different floors, each with separate rooms. And the floors represent different levels of engagement, as according to the see, think, do, and care funnel. But if this doesn't suit you, you can apply any funnel or build additional floors. And the rooms represent potential customers and existing customers or existing visitors. So, well, yeah, let's start building the house. In the first room, there is search. You will typically you start with search because the user query is a really strong signal for the target group, for the user's intent. That's where you start. It's almost the most effective channel you can choose. But once you have set it up, you want to take a next step. So what could that be? Next is remarketing lists for search ads. So you have traffic coming to your website, you're collecting data, and you want to re-engage with those people. They're in the left room, and you can use remarketing for search ads and remarket to those people. When you're doing remarketing, you can, of course, not only do it in AdWords or in search, but also in the GDN, which is remarketing in GDN, which means that you're leaving search and going broader and reapproach people across all of the Google Display Network, which has, depending on which country you're in, a pretty strong reach. Let me put it this way. We don't stop there, but next up is a display consideration. So you're somehow leaving the people that you have engaged with, but want to engage potential new customers who might have never heard of you, but you want to generate new traffic for your website. So display consideration is you re-engage with people visit specific websites that you know your target audience is 100% there. You can use placement targeting on the GDN, or you can use in-market segments on the GDN, which tells that the user has a current buying intent of a certain product category. Next up is the C phase, the really broad phase where the hot air balloon goes through the roof, is display awareness, where you get even broader. So in this segment and also in the next segment, cross remarketing, you want to have as much reach as possible. And well, this is our house basically. So you start from search, very focused, and go broader and broader. Now we have talked now for 21 minutes, and I think there was a lot of input. But why did we present the house? Because before you start doing anything, there are so many things that need to be common factor that you just have to pay attention and plan before you do something. Otherwise, I think the options are too overwhelming. You might have problems also looking at the data. If that's not enough data, just focus on the little first box, the search ads, and we can elaborate on this. So this is just the segment for search ads, where you can also subdivide your next steps. You might want to start with Google Search Partners, switch them on, and then have a strategy for mobile search, like writing certain text ads for mobile devices because they work differently and they're presented differently on mobile devices. Then you want to look at ad extensions, whether you need site links. Well, you do need them, obviously, but how to implement them, if you can work with call extensions and all the extensions AdWords offers. And then look at dynamic search ads, and last but not least, product listing ads. So each of the rooms in the house can further be elaborated. We have not only done this for search ads, but we can shortly flip through the other rooms as well. For instance, remarketing for search ads, and we have display remarketing, we have display consideration. You see all those steps. So we have done this basically for you to look at after this session. You will get the deck or part of it, I think. So the first question would be, do I get this framework? Yes, you will certainly get it. And as to other questions, I think we have now time to answer those.
Right. So thanks, Timo. I think the goal of this Hangout was really trying to share with you the different steps you can take to execute an audience strategy by first identifying your users, then trying to customize your message for those users. And then the last step was to maximize your profits based on the value of those customers. And we try to provide you a couple of frameworks to do this segmentation, and where you can segment those users in different buckets based on the stage or phase they are in. And it was kind of like a high-level overview. And then the following session that you may going to attend will give you the opportunity to actually deep dive into those different audience solutions, such as dynamic ads and remarketing lists for search ads. So, it's time to answer a question if we have any questions. So again, if you want to put a question, go to the AdWords community page where you are watching the video, and then you can actually add a comment. And we have a team here in the back end that actually can take those questions and then show it to us. So feel free to ask questions. If not, you can always contact your AdWords team. If you have questions, they're gonna be more than happy to answer your question. You can also add comments and posts on that video, and we're gonna take those questions after this video, and then we're gonna send you an email with the answers for those questions. So thank everyone for joining us today. Hopefully you found it useful. Join us in 15 minutes for the next session. That's going to be on Hang On Air on dynamic ads. So thanks you, everyone.
Thank you.